week 13. Today I'm going to be going over the Alexa AI from the developer console and talking a little bit about the Rocket Elevators Alexa skill that we made for Rocket Elevators. So as you can see, we start off with the invocation, which is Rocket Elevators. That will start up the response that we've created. From there, let's say we can type in help. And this will bring up
Here is the list of all commands. What is the status of elevator X? Can you tell me the status of elevator X? What? Sorry, I can't understand the command.
You can
Please say again.
Grab the status of any item. It can be elevator, column, battery. So let's say, I'll just copy and paste this. What is the status of elevator? And then we'll say like elevator 7.
The status of elevator 7 is active.
So as you can see, the status is active. We could do the same thing with the battery and column. I won't bother to show that just because I think you get the idea. We can also grab the little greetings by doing what is happening at Rocket Elevators.
Greetings. There are currently 573 elevators deployed in the 179 buildings of your 123 customers. Currently.
So as you can see, we got that. It has all the requirements from the doc. Got the elevators, inactive elevators, buildings, customers, quotes, leads, so on and so forth. Let's see, we also have, we have the status of the batteries in the column too. I guess I can go over that. What is the status of battery 4?
The status of battery 4 is inactive.
What is the status of column 17, we'll say?
The status of column 17 is inactive.
So that's just a basic overview of some of the functions we can do with the Alexa skill. Here's a generic overview of the code. We have all the parts going on. This is the start of the handlers, right? Here's the exporting of the handlers. Here's the actual API calls we have. So you can always double check that the commands we do are correct, like the results are correct. If we go over in the build, we can see the interaction model we have, right? These are all the different commands with the samples for how to do things. If you would like to test them yourself, synonyms, so similar commands you can type in to get the same result through the different intents. Here we have the actual intents and then what would be included in each intent. So here we have like ID, right? And then you can see we have an ID as an Amazon number here in the slot type. So that is the basic overview of the Alexa skill. All of it can be found in a repo that's provided, and you can go into the console and test it yourself or download it or anything of that nature. From here, I'll pass it on to Tyler and we'll go into the DialogFlow chatbot we have for Slack.
Hello, my name is Tyler, and today I'll be showing you and kind of walking you through how to set up and work with the Rocket Elevators chatbot. So I'm going to start off just simply by showing you just some of the commands you can do with the chatbot. So we're just going to we're going to start off by saying hello, or actually we'll do hey. Alright, and there we go. It says hello, it's great to have you here. Try asking me to give you an overview of Rocket Elevators. So, alright. Can you give me an overview of Rocket Elevators? Alright, and as you can see, here we get just a brief overview of everything going on there. So we can see that we have 573 elevators deployed, 179 buildings for our 123 customers, 405 elevators not running that are being serviced, so they're either inactive or have an intervention. There's 214 batteries across the 100 cities that we serve. And it also shows us that we have 414 quotes awaiting processing and that we have 174 leads in our contact requests. So we can also, if you want, let's say we wanted to see the type of commands we can do, we just type help, and it was like, you need help? So we can say, change the status of a column, or what's going on at Rocket Elevators. Something like this would just display this. Or we can change the status of an elevator if you wanted to. So let's try seeing what the status of an elevator is. So what is the status of elevator? We'll do 30. Let's see what that's like. Alright, so we get the status of elevator 30 is inactive. Alright, so let's say we want to change that status. All we have to say, or we can say, is update the status of elevator 30 to, we'll do active. Alright, so we get a little confirmation message. And if we wanted to check this, we just we could go to Postman and check this out here. So we did an elevator, so let's change that to elevator. We did number 30. So if we get it, it should be active. That's because we just changed it. Let's say we wanted to, get the status of a battery. Tell me the status of battery, I don't know, 50. And so we get inactive. We could change that as well if we wanted to, but we're just going to leave it there. As for everything else, like actual implementation, what you can do with the bot, that's about it. So we just can get and change the status of different elevators or columns or batteries. We can get an overview of what's going on, and we can get some just commands, some things we can do, or the things that the bot can do. So now I'll just kind of show you how this all works and how to set it up for yourself if you'd like. Of course, there's some good documentation out there, which is what we used. But just as a brief overview, basically you'll have your intents, which is going to be kind of like what you say to the bot and the response you'll get. In this case, the response is in here, which I'll show you later. But so these are just training phrases that you can give to the bot that will figure out kind of like different ways of saying this. So we just say, hey, give me the status of battery 2. And then we use the default DialogFlow entity. So it's just a number. And we just renamed it to ID to match what we have in the database. Same thing for this, just a different way of rewording it. And then we made sure that the parameter is required, because without it, you're not going to know, the bot's not going to know which elevator. And so to make sure that we can do API calls, we have to enable webhook call for this intent. And then we can go to fulfillment to see how that's done. So we're going to scroll down to get elevator status. So this is just our function name, the agent, which is the DialogFlow bot. This is the parameters we passed it. So in this case, the ID. So this would be your endpoint. We have a get method. And then whatever the endpoint returns would be your result. So in this case, it returns a string. So that's what gets returned. And we do this simply by, telling the bot to add dialog saying, hey, the status of elevator, whatever you entered, is the result dot data. And the data would just be in this case, this, without the quotes. It's the same kind of thing for the column and battery, just for getting them. But let's say we wanted to change it, right? So to do that, we'll just kind of do the same thing, just alter it a little bit. So we got our status, or not status, our function name. We have our variables that we passed in. So we passed in the ID of the elevator and the status we want to put it to. We're making a post, so we go to the endpoint. In this case, it's this for us. We put in the body, just like as you were kind of doing here. For example, basically similar to this. Well, that's the equivalent. And then our result would be something like this. Or actually, it would be if we were getting something, but in this case, the result is custom. So we just have done the status of elevator blank, whatever you put in has been changed to blank. And we check that simply by going here and confirming it. Let's say something went wrong, or we didn't enter a status maybe. It'll say failed, something went wrong, I cannot update the status of elevator, whatever we entered. And it'll basically tell you how to correct it, or simply try another question. Same sort of thing for these, just changed names of the function. And then you want to make sure that you map your intent. So this is what we named it. This is the intent name here, and then this would be the function name. And so that's basically it for kind of how it works. If you wanted, since we have to connect it to Slack, we go down to integrations, to text-based Slack, and then you would fill in this information here. And that's essentially it. So thank you for watching.